when we used to do this back in the day, boy, really did not worry about this level. Oh, except eventually at Valve we had like whole
Well,
movie
yeah,
teams.
you had a production team there, right?
They used those red cameras.
That's I've never been anyplace fancy enough to use a red. Here, I'll adjust my there we go.
When they filmed the Vive commercial, the intro commercial, I was not supposed to do that.
Oh, the mixed reality one?
Where we had people like come to their house and set up and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't supposed to do that.
Like
Someone else was, and it just wasn't working. So they're just like, "Oh fuck it, we didn't want to use you. You're in everything, but can you just go do this?"
that mixed reality thing ended up being the thing that I showed when people were like, "Hey, what's this VR thing? I don't understand it." It ended up being a really nice thing that I could just
Oh,
send a YouTube link and people would be like, "Oh, okay, I get it now." So it puts you into the video game. I was like, "Yeah, exactly." And I'm gonna be able to look down and see my body. It's like, no, not at all like that. But the rest of it is 100% accurate.
oh VR.
Yeah.
But I will so go I'm going to GDC next week and I will see some VR stuff as well as some old friends and some new people. I have a whole bunch of new people I'm going to go meet. Always a fan of meeting new people and learning things from them. So yeah,
we're both
GDC
there.
next week.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. It'll be fun. It's like a 20-minute drive for me. It's nothing.
Just this
Really
will be my
exciting.
first time in a plane since the pandemic.
Yep, I'm not going to do that.
And all of that. So a little concerned. I don't know, like weird. It's probably irrational worry, or is it real worry? Because there is still a pandemic or an endemic. Like it's not a pandemic, Chet. It's an endemic.
Look, it's just we've got a lot of demics right now. I was worried. I was wondering. Usually, I ride BART to GEC because I live just
Yeah.
south in the Bay a little bit, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to get on a train in a tube right now. That doesn't sound as fun as it used to be.
So okay, from the airport. So I actually normally fly into Oakland.
Yeah.
Flying into San Francisco this time, and I normally take the BART when I do that.
Mm-hmm. Your lift costs you about $40, and it's only one other person you're exposing yourself to. There you go. My plan is to sit up on the park at Yerba Buena above the convention center and meet with the people I want to meet with and enjoy some sun and maybe get a coffee and, just do some nice outside, have some outside times.
Is the weather gonna be nice? I haven't checked the weather.
The weather's always pretty good this time of year, and we won't know if it's going to be bad until like 48 hours before the day. So
Yeah, if it's rainy, yeah,
San Francisco.
it's
We're it's a safe bet on the rain zone for San Francisco, the middle of the end of March, but you never know. Things change. What are we going to talk about this week, Chet?
This week we are going to talk about an update that's coming.
Update 3, which is
Update
actually
3.
like the 7th update.
But yeah, so there's like we talked about last time. There's the big updates and there's a little updates. Yeah. This is the third big update.
There's a lot of stuff here. We've got communications wheel is coming in. So if you want to be able to send some voice message, if you want to be able to trigger your character saying voice lines like "Hey, follow me," or "Look over there," or "Help, I'm good," you can do that with the voice wheel now.
But the really cool thing is, so we have a default set that you can just use. Yeah. They're the ones that we commonly want to use. And then you could actually reprogram those, and we have like 20 some lists. Like I mapped laughter because I like to hear the laughter. I like to hear happy people. But you can do all kinds of things also because laughter is just a great way to say no.
I just like to do inappropriate laughter in the video game. Yes. It makes me very happy.
But so yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. And then
some more game instructor hints. There's a bunch of other stuff. There'll be a post later this week about that.
Yeah, a lot of onboarding stuff, a lot of fixing stuff for that kind of thing. A whole bunch of little bug fixes, crash fixes,
quality of life and bug fixes is what we
joining stuff. And then there's a big change.
A huge change.
And that change is about difficulty.
So when we launched, we said, hey, we're going to start with one difficulty. We're going to see how this goes. We've seen how it goes. It was fine. It worked okay. But the upshot is the entire audience is not homogenous in the level of difficulty that they would like. And the game was too hard for a lot of people. I would say even the majority of people, especially when you're starting out and you're trying to learn how weapons work and what you do, how you deal with different monsters and what grenades do and all the different things that we throw at you. It was too much. So in the interest of learning from our mistakes and getting better every update, we're launching a new default difficulty.
Yes. So now it's the new normal. So that would be your default. If you're just going to jump in by yourself, if you're going to quick play, whatever, that's what you're going to jump into.
If you jump in the game and click play episode 2 and hit play, you're going to be we're just calling it normal. We're not calling it, but we're calling it the new normal, but in the game it's just called normal.
Correct.
Yeah.
But now if you're like, hey, I really like that intensity, that gave me something no other game did. Because what this normal does, to be clear, is it removes some of the worry of like, hey, are there going to be 3 goopers or 2 goopers and a grabber, and like some of the in-cap mixes. And it also just, it's the intense mode, as we call the old regular, to make it confusing.
Yeah.
Intense mode is uncapped, and it's the director trying to match your skill level and give you this intense experience. Where the new normal, what it does is just say, hey, we're going to cap it at this point. It's going to be this kind of experience.
It's still intense.
Yes, it's still intense. It still has the ups and downs. It still has all the pacing stuff. It's just how crazy can it get to you? It's not going to throw you 3 brutes at you in the first map, right?
And also we cap the number of disablers, so or reduces the likely. It does 2 things. It reduces the likelihood of disablers, and it reduces the likelihood of duplicate of the same kind of special enemy. So you might see like a flasher and a spawner and a gooper and a brute, all like maybe not at the same time, but in sequence after each other. You won't see a brute and 2 spawners or 2 goopers and then 2 brutes as often. Sure. It might still happen as a rare event, but it'll be a special moment for you.
Or it would ramp up towards the end in the finale. You know, it ups a little. But you know, we played actually last night on stream and recorded. We played episode 1 in the new normal, and then we played episode 1 in intense. And what you saw was we killed a lot more common in the intense mode, as well as we killed a lot more grabbers and goopers, because just in the regular mode, those just aren't as frequent anymore, because you're not going to have stack multiple of them. But it's still intense in both. Absolutely crazy ending, and now we have new ending as well in episode 1. We're cleaning up and kind of selling the story around stuff a little bit better. And so there's that as well. But so yeah, it is still giving you those ups and downs and a good experience. But you know, one of the reasons we want to have this is on Tuesday, when we streamed, what we actually streamed with the same group, we streamed some Left 4 Dead community maps.
Yeah.
And one of the things we realized is a lot of those community maps, when you're playing them, you really just want to kind of check out the map and marvel at the weird little things the modder did and the fun that you're having inside of that space. And you kind of want to not always have the director trying to kill you. And so as we are going to start having play testers play the new community maps, we want to have them have that same kind of experience of being able to go through these maps. And in fact, this morning, I played 2 different community maps or community episodes that we'll be sharing soon.
So let's see. Things that we should make sure we iterate, highlight. If you want to play the old difficulty, you still can. But we're going to make it a little bit harder just so there's not like 15 matchmaking queues. If you want to play the old difficulty, you need to get a group of 4 people, and then the option to flip that on comes on, and you can do that. And
jump on our Discord and request a game, and people will match up with you.
Yeah, the veterans who want to get beaten down a little bit more will be there. The other thing is, it kind of surprises me because when you're playing the new normal, it doesn't actually feel like less intense.
No.
I mean, there's still ebbs and flows, just like we want with the game, where there's moments of downtime, there's moments of uptime, there's moments of kind of intense fights, and then they back off a little bit faster and give you maybe a little bit more time to recover. But it like you get to the end of an episode, you're like, oh man, I killed 2,000 aliens this time, whereas before we would have killed 5 or 6. But it feels the same, which is I think
good,
working as intended. So difficulty lower, intensity kind of about the same.
And we also give you a lot of tools and a lot of fun things. So a lot of the grenades and the special weapons, like you should just be using them. There'll be more coming. Yep. So just use them. Oh, and so one thing with that, like, so we played what we call the playtest version. And that's the playtest version is the version that we've been playing with the community, because how do you test difficulty? It's really hard for us to test difficulty. We need to have players play and new players play. So we've been having people going in and playing this version. So on Steam, what you do is you enter this password, and then you're into the playtest version. You could choose that from a beta dropdown, and then you're playing in there. Now, that's a subset of people. So you really want to be playing that with people, because it's a very small group of people who are doing that.
Matchmaking won't work very well.
But like we're going to open that up so other people can jump in there and give us that feedback as well. And that'll just become a regular thing of we'll start testing early things there. And we'll probably start doing it on either some of our playtest nights or other nights, saying like, hey, let's all jump into this branch and let's play this and give us feedback on what you think about it. So if you want to give us early feedback about it, join the Discord at discord.gg/StoryBombay, and we're actually going to start opening that up. So we're going to open it up for Steam players first, and then eventually it'll be on with the insider program of Xbox.
Yeah, I just actually got the email that we're going to be good to go on that whenever we want. There's one additional step with the insider program, and we'll have to set up a form that people can submit, because we need to put your gamer tag or ideally the email address that's associated with your Xbox Live ID. So the email address that you use to log into the Xbox. We'll put that into an allowed list that puts you into the pool, and then we're just gonna have, so most of the time when the game's out, that'll be just like the normal version of the game. Probably the week or 2 weeks before a big patch is going to come, we're going to start putting the staging builds on there, so you'll be able to jump in and play with other testers to see like what the next patch looks like. And part of it is to get balanced feedback when we can still make changes. Part of it is that, we're still a 20-person team, so having more people playing the game before it's out helps us find bugs and helps us track down issues, find crashes, whatever. We've already found a couple of things just from the last week, and that stuff is hugely helpful. So
well, so the interesting point is, we submitted last Friday this build and said, hey, this is what we're going to ship to customers this past Tuesday, and we started play testing it. Oh, actually, no, the week before. And when we started playtesting it, thinking, well, okay, we have this whole week of playtesting. We'll get it by the following Tuesday, this past Tuesday. Sorry, time's confusing to me. And we'll get that so that we can release it. And as we were playtesting and bringing in outside people as well as internally, we were finding some strange edge cases and some bugs that we weren't comfortable shipping. So we stepped back and said, let's just delay this a week. Let's harden it. So we've been playing it every day. We've been having outside people play it as well. And now, as we go next Tuesday for the update, we're a lot more confident in the quality of this patch and update.
Well, and part of the challenge with the small team, and this is something I really appreciated until we got into it and started releasing the game on the reg, is that when you have 20 people and one person gets a crash bug out of the 20 people that are testing, you know that there's a 1 in 20 chance that that's a fairly, like 1 in 20 is a really common bug when you have thousands of people playing the game every day. So we would never want to ship that, but we have no idea if it's 1 in 20 or 1 in 2,000 or 1 in 20,000 games that sees this bug. So having more people play is going to help us with that kind of stuff as well. Help us to know when stuff is safe to ship or not.
Yeah, because then often there's like a class of bugs that are like, oh, it's this thing here, and we know that this is the problem area. So now let's spend some time in cleaning that up. And so, I think to the update dev blog we did the other day, this is that question of like, am I spending time making something new for players, or am I making quality of life better for players? And this last week has definitely been about going back and making quality of life better for players.
Yeah. And
so we've done a lot of work there for that.
Yep. So yeah, that's it. New normal will be the normal when the patch lands next Tuesday. It is a little bit, it caps the overall intensity a little bit. So it brings a more accessible intro for players, and we think it's actually more fun. I mean, I would say. If you want to do some more, if you want more challenges, you can get a group of 4 people and play the intense mode, which is the old normal. Also, we have weekly challenges. So this week's weekly challenge is scavenge mode, where you start in the airlock with a pistol. It seems familiar from some other game that's kind of like this. I don't know. You start with no guns. You have to go out in the world and find health and grenades and all that stuff on your own. I think my favorite of the weekly challenges. We'll have more new weekly challenges starting next week when the patch lands.
And we also, if you're part of the Discord, we have what we call the Discord challenge, where you can win the title of Champion of Boris.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to go with this week. It's going to be you play episode 2 and not kill any brutes, which means if you see a brute, you just got to run from it and keep running.
So my question is, what's the tie break if 2 groups have no brutes killed? Like, just to be clear, the Discord challenge is your way of breaking the game. Like, Chet sits down, he's like, hey, I want to break the game in a new novel way this week. And then we come up with something like this.
Yeah. Some of these are tests for other stuff. And like, we already know we want to be able to bubble up and seeing statistically how much damage the team's taking, because that's an interesting thing. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to. Maybe it's how long you stay in the map. No, because that's weird. Because you could just park it someplace. We'll have to figure it out. Some of these these are work in progress, which is why you should join and talk about this. Oh, and there is one other thing we didn't talk about that will be happening, and that's starting next week. We're going to start testing some of the community maps with the community. So some of the community maps are at a place where they're comfortable and want some feedback from just besides more than just us. And so they're going to be reaching out, and we're going to be including some people into that. And so that'll be fun.
And I assume we'll pull those people from the Discord. So active Discord participants get dibs on mod test maps. I played a couple of them. It's really fun to play maps that don't follow like our internal design language and design rules, because it feels like a wildly different experience in a way that's very satisfying. So
yes, it is very good.
Can't wait until people get to take a look at those. As always, thanks everybody for listening and watching, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Yeah, see you in Discord. Bye.
Yeah, bye everybody.